We are going live. We should be live now, but we are still going to wait until 3 o'clock to actually start. And so, but I figured we could start the live stream and say hello to everybody. I can introduce those of us that are painting today. We have my mom again. She's our special regular. My aunt is visiting, and so she is going to be painting in watercolor today. She's a brilliant watercolor artist, so if anybody has any watercolor questions, today would be the day to ask. And we have my friend Casey. She painted the winter tree with us too. And her daughter Sophia, you can't see her on screen, but she's sitting over here too. And she painted the winter tree also with us. I'm going to turn my volume down. I have on my phone the live stream because I can't see my laptop. So I will be fielding any questions in the chat from here. So if I'm a little delayed, I apologize. But I will get to them when I see them. And if anybody is watching already, if you want to do a little test chat, that would be cool. Other than that, we're just going to hang out until 3 o'clock. We have our materials gathered. We all have our canvases, we have our paintbrushes, our cups of water, our plates for our palette. I just have a regular towel because I have a regular paint towel that I use, but I gave everybody paper towels. And we have our paint. So I'm going to start setting up everybody's paint on their plates. Yeah, you can move stuff all around your workspace here. So we're going to want some yellow.
Yeah, Jenny. Might be fine. Okay.
Take some.
Right here. I might move this over here actually.
Blue. Will you add some blue to yours and Sophia? You're gonna need quite a bit of blue, so don't be shy with the blue. Also the white you're gonna need a bit of. Are they making silly noises?
Such a pretty blue.
We're also going to want some green to start.
Do they need white over here?
Yes, they will need white.
And this? Oh, and the yellow. Green. Let me see here. Do you want to go green?
So yeah, right now we're just setting up our palettes with some color.
And do we have the same blue as they do, or?
Yes, we do. What?
Here, give me your plate.
Browns. I have 3 different colors of browns. If you at home do not, you can use 1 or 2 or however many you want.
Or mix them.
Or mix your own different shades of browns with whites or black.
This is lime green. What's that? Light green peppermint, and this is lime green. Oh, that's a different one.
Yellow one than this one, yeah.
Here's a brown.
Okay.
Yellow. That really loud, sorry.
There's another brown. Now, Sophia, did you want to do a purple tree or a pink tree?
Purple.
Purple? Okay, I'm going to give you a bunch of this color. And this color, you're going to use quite a bit. And you're also going to use it with white, and there's a darker purple that everybody's going to be using too. You don't need a whole lot of the dark purple, so be a little conservative with the dark purple.
Do you want either of these too?
If you're doing a pink tree, I used the most of this rose pink.
And I have my quinacridone rose.
Ooh. That way.
Okay, so purple tree. Do we use this too?
No, she might be that one she'll need, the dark purple,
Oh.
and then maybe a little bit of the rose pink.
Okay.
Just for some highlight. Nice. Alright. Let's see. Do you want some more colors of brown there, girly girl, so you don't have such a dark trunk?
Sure.
Yeah.
I like the light brown.
A bit of light brown there for you. Alright. Cool.
I never got dark.
You never got
Any dark purple?
You never got dark purple. I'll get you dark purple. You will need dark purple, especially for your purple tree.
Where's that purple at? That lilac purple.
The lilac purple is right there. It's called brilliant purple.
Brilliant purple.
It is brilliant. Oh, Terry's here. Awesome. Alright. We have a few people watching already. That's cool. What time is it? 3:02. So it is about time to start. But I might just chat here for a second, take a sip of my water. Always remember, don't mix up your paint water and your drinking water.
Or
Is this
the,
from
or
experience?
the teacher with the cigarette and the chalk trying to write on the board with the cigarette.
Oh.
We had
Don't
it.
see that anymore.
No, for both reasons.
Yeah. So, all right. Welcome again, everyone. If you're joining us, we just set up our palettes of paint. So I don't know if Kimberly's in yet. I have 5 people watching, but I think one of those is me. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Unless Mom, you want to text Kimberly? I don't know if you have your phone handy. Okay. My sister is going to be watching and joining us from Illinois. I think the kiddos and Eric are watching too. I don't know for sure. But again, if people are watching this in the future, it is going to be posted on the YouTube page forever, so you can always come and join us whenever at your leisure. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with just the background. So feel free to join in wherever. Jump right in. Did Kimberly respond yet?
I just texted you.
Okay, cool. So we'll wait and see if my sister responds. But the first brush we're going to use is going to be our big brush, the biggest brush that we have, because we're going to be just doing the background. And we're going to do this sort of like if you remember with the winter tree, we're going to be doing circular motions, but with different colors this time, because now we're in spring. It is springtime. Oh, they are watching because Claire just said hi. So we can go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the yellow, okay? So you're going to get quite a bit of yellow onto that brush, and you're going to do circle motions right in the middle. In the middle. And we're just going to go. And we're going to make a nice big sunshine. So this is our example painting. However, after doing that painting, I decided I wanted to make a few changes. So we are going to make a few changes. I made my sun a little small on the example, so I am making it much bigger this time. I'm just giving myself a nice big old sunshine. All right.
Like you like draw lines out.
So see what I did? Just make big circular motions with the flat side of your brush. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, because we're going to be doing a lot more with it. After you have your sun the way you like it, you're going to rinse off your brush. And don't add too much paint. Make sure that it's a nice, even, thin coat of paint. rinsey rinse, and then you're gonna dab your brush on your towel to dry it off a little bit. All right. Looks like the whole family is there at my sister's house. So, all right. Now, once we have our sun, thin coat of yellow on there, you're gonna grab after you rinse off your brush and wipe it off, you're gonna grab a bunch of blue. Now, with the blue, start at the corners and don't go all the way to touch the sun, but bring it in kind of quarter circular motions towards the sun, but don't touch the sun yet.
Is this blue going all the way to the bottom?
It'll be green at the bottom. My mom likes to do her edges, so if you want to do your edges, it would be a good time to start those also. And you're gonna bring the blue, like I said, not all the way to the bottom. You bring it most of the way to the bottom, but not all the way.
Is it okay if like a little yellow gets mixed up? It's making green.
Yes, so that will make green. So rinse off your brush. Rinse it really, really good. Here, I'm gonna get you, Sophia, I'm gonna get you another paper towel.
Yeah.
So that,
Bring me another one too.
yep. So that you have clean paper towel to work with. Yep, that's a good rinse. That's a good rinse. There's your paper towel. You can see your other brushes. There you go. Alright. So, with your clean brush, you're using the blue. And again, using those circular motions and not touching your yellow yet. And that's why, because if you touch the yellow too soon, then your brush will pick up some of that yellow and your sky will turn green.
Green sky.
Okay, now it's blue.
Good. Good. And then again, if you like to do your edges like my mom does, you can do that. And again, we want this to be kind of a thin-ish coat of paint. So make sure you're spreading that paint nicely on your canvas.
Like this?
Yes, it's a little thick, so use the paint that you have there and just spread it all over the place. Because that paint will spread nicely for you. There we go. So I haven't even dipped my brush back in the blue, and I'm just moving the paint that's already there around the canvas. All right. All right. Yeah. Yours looks good, Mom. Now, I'm not going to rinse off my brush, but after you get a nice coat of blue going, dip your brush in the white.
Wait, is it okay if it like touches the ground?
Yes, because the green and the blue, because the ground is going to end up being green, and the green and the blue will mesh well together. So I dipped my brush in the white, and then I'm going to start right where the blue and the yellow kind of meet, and I'm going to do a circle around that, and then I'm just going to kind of make wispy little clouds with the white. So I'm just going to kind of let that mix on the canvas with the blue. So I'm moving outwards with my white after I get it near the sun.
Like just like that, like on each
Yeah.
side.
So you're gonna, you're gonna need to fill your canvas with more of the blue, dear. So you can use what white is on your brush. So start like right here with the white. Perfect. And keep moving that around the canvas. So good. Beautiful. And see how the white is thick right there? You can move that around the canvas too. Perfect. Then once you have that there, then you can go back with the blue and add the blue in there. Now you got some yellow going on. That's all right. Go ahead and rinse. Rinse real good. And then you can start back with the blue. I'm gonna add just a little more white because I want a few more wispy clouds. Spread that white. We have some wispy clouds going on. It also lightens up the blue a little bit, which is nice for a spring sky. And just keep on using your brush to mix the paint so that your sky looks the way that you want it. Well, hello, Mary. I just saw we have our friend Mary that just joined the chat. Welcome.
I think this is perfect.
You think it's perfect? Easy. That is looking good, dear. Looking good. All right.
It's a little green, but I'm embracing it.
Yeah, all right. Embrace it. All right. Casey says hers is a little green, but she's embracing it. Oh, that looks great. So I like the way that you've got like streaks of yellow going on because it's like some spots, you know. So now let's get our ground in there. So what I like to do whenever I'm working with the bottom is flip my canvas over so that I can actually get to the bottom. So I'm giving my big brush a really good rinse. Rinse. If you're working flat, it's not really necessary to flip over your canvas, but if you want to, if you'd rather paint a little closer to you, that's fine too. Make sure you give your brush a nice good rinse, dry it off a little bit on your towel. Now, we're going to start with our lighter green. If you have two different greens, I'm starting with lime green. And we're going to, again, in circular motions, paint in the ground.
The light one is like lime green?
Yes, the light one is the lime green. And again, if you're like my mom and like to paint the edges, go ahead and do that as you're doing this. Go. I was oil painting the other day, and I think I still have some oil paint on my easel.
Like this?
And the green can go up into the blue a little bit. Blend those together.
My grass is kind of a mix of green and a little bit of yellow.
Don't worry, we're gonna add more green. So once you have your base coat of lime green, don't even need to rinse off your brush. You're gonna take your darker green and we're gonna add that in there.
Just mixing it with the
Yep, just mix it right on the canvas
with the lime green.
with the lime green. Same places that your lime green was. A little darkness. You can, sort of like I did there, I just kind of like left my brush stroke. You can leave your brush stroke if you want, and that will kind of give it some texture, or you can smooth it all out, which I really like. Always remember, it is your painting, and It is your art, so you make it how you like it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, what you can also do with your darker green is add some grass. And that, instead of a circular motion, just take your brush and very lightly, without pressing too hard, just go pew, 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 pew. And it makes these cool little blades of grass.
Is it okay if I look at yours for a second?
Yeah. Want to see what I'm doing? So I am taking my brush very lightly.
I might try to do that.
Sound effects are extra credit. Just make sure that you have a very light touch and do it quickly. And it'll make those cool grass blades. You can add as many or as few as you want. And we can also go back in and add some after we do the trunk. So, the trunk of the tree. Once you're happy with your ground, you can flip your canvas back over. Is this enough ground? Oh yeah, that's pretty. Are we rinsing this out? Yes. Well, yeah, you rinse it out, and we're going to be moving to the next smaller brush when we are done with the ground. Paint on me. I forgot to put on my apron today. Huh, that's funny. That's good. Ooh, I like that a lot. That's really good.
I feel like you have these two. I think this one's.
That one. Alright, so you're going to want to use a more medium-sized brush. I'm going to be using this brush. So, but we are going to start with the trunk of the tree. Now, in the example painting, I decided that this tree trunk is too fat. I don't want the tree trunk that fat. So, we're going to make it a little skinnier here in this painting. So, I'm going to start with my lightest brown. Whatever your lightest brown is. If you only have one brown, if you want to mix a little white into it, that's okay, but not much, because white will dull your acrylic paints. For you, probably either one of these two to start.
Dark.
No, the lightest, your light one. And so for this, because I want my trunk skinnier, I'm going to start just at the bottom, and I'm going to draw a line straight up.
Is it okay to touch the sun?
Yes, mine is going just to the bottom of the sun. That's where my trunk is going to be. Now, I do want this to have a little bit more shape, but like I said, I didn't want it to be too fat, so I didn't start it too fat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from this line, I'm going to just kind of drag some paint so it's got a little bit of a root system here. A little bit there. And then I kind of want my tree to be a little, not so straight up and down. So I'm going to add some curves, and that'll also create a branch there for me. Another little branch. And yeah, my tree kind of looks like it's dancing. I like it. I think that's as thick as I want my tree. So that is all I'm going to do there for that. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint here to the branch. So that Now, once you have that done, again, don't rinse off your brush and go into your next darkest brown. So your middle brown, if you have 3.
Can I draw like branches?
Well, we're gonna work on branches here. Look at mine. So I only added a couple of branches so far. We're gonna work on more branches here in a minute.
Show Kimberly which brush. I'm using this one, Kimberly, or that's thickness.
Yep.
Corinne's
So
using something like this.
I'm using something a little bit thicker, but you don't want to use anything too large. We're using small-ish medium brushes. So I'm using the same brush now, and I'm just gonna add in some of that darkness in the middle of my tree, because the sun is behind it, so you're going to get more lightness on the edges than you are in the middle. And again, I'm letting them mix on the canvas, but I'm not smoothing out the color too much, because I like the way the brush strokes kind of make it look like bark and roots and all of the fun things that trees do.
Bark, 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 bark.
I'm going to add a little bit up in the branch.
So like on the sides and a little bit in the middle?
You're going to want to add the darker color to the middle. You want the sides to stay pretty light. Add that in there. But you're not going to add too much of that color, because we want that lighter brown to still come through. And then finally, again, I'm not going to rinse off my brush. I'm going to take just an itty bitty bit of the darkest brown.
Light brown first, Kimberly.
Yes, your light brown is the one that you're going to make your tree shape with. And then you're going to add the shadows. So you want your lightest brown first. So now I'm using the darkest brown last. And I am painting that just kind of down the middle, and a little bit on the branches, on the bottom sides of the branches. I'm going to add a couple of squigglies with it. Again, just the teeniest, tiniest amount of the darkest brown, because we don't want it to get too dark. And a little darkness at the bottom.
Oh, I got green on it. Like a lot of brush.
Luckily, acrylic paint comes off of skin pretty easily. All right. I like my trunk. Are you happy with your trunk, Mom? Are you happy with your trunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your trunk looks good.
All right. Do we have any questions on the YouTube?
What brush are we going to use for the branches?
So the next thing we're going to start doing is our flowers and leaves. If you choose
I want
leaves,
branches.
you will add branches.
I want more than one.
If you want to add more branches now, that is okay, but be very sparing, because it's better to add them kind of in between after you get all your flowers on. But if you want to sort of sketch out where you're going to put your plants, go ahead and do that. I would use your light color.
You could put a couple in, but then as you develop the flowers, then you can add more branches later.
Yep. And if you're going to add a few more branches right now, use a smaller brush than the one that you used for your trunk. And I would suggest a round brush, which you are using the correct one. So, and use your lightest brown color, and you can add a few more fun little branches.
What? They're crookly, not straight.
I'm not making it straight.
Yep. And so this particular tree, my aunt did tell me, because I didn't know, is a weeping cherry blossom tree. And they have crooked branches.
Is it okay if I like wash this off and then use the ones?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rinse it off because you don't want too much paint on your brush when you're doing the branches because then the more paint, the thicker it's going to be. And you want your branches to be kind of thin. So you can go ahead and add a few little crookedy branches here and there. But we're going to be adding the branches in after we add the flowers for the most part. So I'm giving that brush a good rinse and drying it off because we are going to be using this brush a lot. The same brush that I just used for my branches, which is a smallish. This one is a round 4, level 1. So it's a smallish, it's not teeny tiny, but it's a small round brush. You can use any brush really that is small. The littlest kiddos can even finger paint if they like, because now we get to some of the fun part. We're going to start adding our blossoms. Okay, so we're going to start with the rose pink. Are you guys all good with your branches and your trunk?
Yeah, I think mine looks okay.
Let me see. Oh yes, very beautiful. All right, so we're gonna take the rose pink and we're gonna put it on the brush, not too much, and we're gonna be dotting. We're gonna let it dance. We're gonna, like I said, all over the place. And again, the kiddos can finger paint if they want. You can use small brushes, big brushes, whatever you want, but we're just gonna this is gonna take a bit, so just dot, 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 all over the place. I'm staying kind of close to where I put my branches first. And then we're going to be filling it all in. And we're just bouncing on the canvas. As we're doing this, please feel free to comment, to chat in the chat. I can do this and read at the same time.
Are we doing it on the tree branches too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely, on the tree branches, all over the place. We are going to be connecting them too, so.
I think all of mine are like close to each other.
We can, on yours, Sophia, we can also flesh it out a little bit more too, so. If you look at the example painting, see how it all kind of comes together. So we're gonna, you can add more up top and you can add some coming down, however you like. Hey, kitty. Do we have a kitty joining us?
Yes.
For those out there in YouTube land that don't know, I have 5 cats. Sometimes they think they're helping. And now notice I'm adding dots even where I have no branches right now. So I'm connecting my branches and even coming around to make the tree even fuller. Still using the same lightest rose pink. It is the lightest pink that I brought with me, and that I used for this painting, I should say. Brought with me. I'm at home, so. I'm just going to start bringing I want my cherry tree weeping, so I'm going to start bringing my flowers down a little bit.
Oh, I already did like 4.
Oh, that's perfect. I just haven't started that part yet. So, can bring down as many or as few as you feel necessary. Claire just asked me to slow down. I don't know how I'm supposed to slow down. I'm just dotting. Everybody just dotting right now. I haven't changed paint color. I haven't changed brushes. We're just dotting. And I'm just kind of moving around the canvas. I'm not doing anything logical at all. Just adding where I feel like I want my tree to be. I do find that on days that I paint, my move ring on my Apple Watch fills up as opposed to other days. So apparently painting is also good exercise.
Yeah, my arm is hurting.
Your arm is hurting? So I am lucky though, because I am a little bit ambidextrous, so if my arm gets too tired, I switch hands. But I know not everyone can do that. Yes, everyone's concentrating so hard. I love it. I hope everyone at home is having a nice time just playing with the dotting. And they don't have to be perfect circles. I hope you're not trying to make them perfect circles.
What?
Nothing in nature is a perfect circle. Certainly not these trees. I'm going to come down the trunk a little bit with one of my weeping things. If you wanted to, you could add the illusion of some wind, and to do that, you would make curvy weeps, like that. But make sure they all curve the same direction, because the wind is going in one direction. Sometimes not.
Tornado tree.
If you're from Oklahoma.
It's a spring tree. I'm gonna add a tornado in.
So I'm pretty happy with just kind of the way that my tree is shaping up. So I've added that base color of the rose pink. So once you are happy with where your blossoms are and your base colors are, now we're going to start adding the highlights and shadows. So, and other colors of pink. So let's start with just the next color of pink, which is the medium magenta.
I don't have
Oh, you were going to do a purple tree, weren't you? So so instead of medium magenta, you're going to use that purple color.
Can I wash my brush?
Yes, you're going to wash your brush out. Now I'm going to take this medium magenta and I'm going to start just putting it, I'm going to be very sparing with medium magenta because I want that rose pink to really be the dominant color. You, Sophia, since you want a purple tree, you can use as much of that purple as you want, but still let some of that rose pink come through. And we're still just dotting. We're still just dotting on there. Something to remember with the medium magenta, if you want the pink tree, is to be a little sparing with it and try and get it to be in areas where you're going to want more shadowiness. So maybe along the branches where the sun might not be hitting them as much, or just kind of underneath some of your other dot marks. I am using the same brush that I was with the rose pink. The only thing that I've changed is I have changed my paint color to the medium magenta. So I'm going to kind of go on some of these underneath parts. There might be a branch. I'm not putting a whole lot of paint on the brush each time I dip it because I don't want the layer to be too terribly thick. If I do add a little too much paint to the brush when I dip it, like I just did, then I just use that paint and I go over more area with it. And I'll come back over here, grab some more of it. Yeah, yeah. I do keep checking the comments, so if anybody wants to comment or ask any questions, please feel free. And you don't want to completely block your sun either. So make sure that you can still see some of that yellow coming through your tree. Everybody's so quiet. That's one of the things I love best about painting though. It is quite relaxing. Also, remember, if anybody has any questions about watercolor painting, feel free to ask those too. One big difference that my aunt asked me to mention last time I did one of these is that there's one big difference between watercolor painting and acrylic painting. Don't ever, in watercolor paintings, you don't ever want to keep your brushes hanging out in the water because that will hurt your brushes. Acrylic brushes are a bit different, and you do want to keep them in your water while you're working on the painting, because if the acrylic dries on the brush, it's super hard to get out. But, so you want to keep your brushes wet. But when you are done with your painting for the day, make sure you wash your brushes and let them dry. Don't keep them in any kind of water or anything overnight, because yes, that will ruin your brushes. And yes, I have done it, and yes, it does.
An expensive lesson.
Yeah. Oh, well, a couple of they're still usable, but they might not be for long. But it hurts the wood of the brush, and a little bit the bristles. But you can bring the bristles back a little bit. So
I kind of think I'm done with purple.
With the purple, all right. Well, I think I'm kind of done with the medium magenta. I think I've got my shadows figured out. So I'm gonna rinse off my brush
Look how
again real
pretty
good.
that is. Oh, you're doing a beautiful.
Oh my goodness, that's so good.
Wow,
Thank you.
nice.
So now we're gonna go in and add some highlight. So we're gonna use some of the white. Okay, again, we're gonna use very little on our brush. I'm using the same brush, and we're gonna add our highlight. You're gonna wanna add highlights near the top of the tree because the sun is, you know, gonna hit a lot at the top of the tree.
Can I see yours?
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
Uh,
okay. So I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight at the top of the tree. I'm also gonna be adding highlight kind of on the tops of where I think my wheats are curving. Here, I'll show you what I mean by that. So, like here and here, I'll probably add some there, and in the middle also a bit. So, anywhere where you think the highlights need to be.
I keep getting green all over my arm.
Artist problems. There was one day last week that I was painting all day, and Vince and I, my husband and I, were about to go out to trivia that we go to, and he looked at me and he said, "You need to jump in the shower." I said, "Oh, do I have paint all over me?" And I looked at my arms and he goes, "Yeah, on your face. I had paint like here and like on my forehead." It was kind of crazy. So I jumped in the shower. So again, we are still just dotting and bouncing. We're using the same brush. And we're kind of letting the white mix a little bit with that rose pink and the medium magenta. And we're adding highlights. The highlight needs to go here on this pretty branch. Again, just moving around the canvas, adding those highlights wherever you feel necessary. If you look at cherry blossoms, they're pink and white. So you do want to add.
Like white in them.
They have some white on them as well, and there are some cherry blossoms out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, here, Francine. You know more about this than I do, but there are some that are all white and with maybe just a little bit of pink in them. There's all kinds of different colors of them. So if you guys remember with the winter tree, it was just a few dots because, you know, in the winter that we were painting the snow, and the trees don't have leaves in the winter. Because this is our pretty spring tree, it's going to take a lot longer to do our dots. And if you sit back and look at your tree and you decide you want to do things a little differently, feel free to add more. You can always add more. You can't go backwards, but you can always add more weeps. You can always add more.
What flowers that fell off on the ground?
Yes, absolutely. So one really fun thing I did do that I liked on my example painting, I added a few little dots here on the ground. That flowers may have fallen off of our tree. And again, you're going to want to use the different colors. You're going to want to use the rose pink, a little bit of the medium magenta, maybe some white.
Purple?
Yes, purple, if you're doing a purple tree, for sure. Do just a few dots here of this color. All right, now when we look at our tree now, it's turning out very pretty. I'm really liking the results, but we want to add just a little bit more contrast to it. So for that, we are going to use that dark purple color. I think it's Prism Violet. Is it Prism? No, it's Deep Violet. The Deep Violet is what we're using. And so this is going to be your shadowiest shadow areas, okay? You're not going to want to have a whole lot of it, but you're going to add that in kind of maybe where in areas where the white and the magenta meet, because that's going to give you some contrast.
Is it okay if I look at yours?
Yeah. So where I started there, I grabbed some of the dark purple, put it here, because that's where the white and the medium magenta meet.
Oh, so next to like the white parts?
And if you can also look at this one, so I kind of added it all over the place, but again, not so much. You know, I didn't add as much as I did say the medium magenta or the light rose or even the white. I just added a little bit here and there. Okay, that's going to be where you think your shadowiest areas are going to be. And again, we're just adding. I'm using the same size brush. I'm using a very light touch. And I am just adding that dark purpley color in there. And that is Castiel, one of my kitties, meowing in the background.
I think she really wants attention.
Yeah, he usually does. He's the one of our kitties that tells us when it is bedtime. He whines at us and tells us it's time to go to bed.
That's no one.
Oh, okay. I was like, that doesn't sound like any of my cats.
She's meowing back.
I think her work
She does that.
Yeah, we did.
Is it okay if I add like some to my leaves on the ground?
Yes, just a little bit, but yeah, absolutely. Hello, Castiel.
I didn't
for this shadow area, you'll notice we're using a dark purple color instead of, say, a black, because you generally want to use black very sparingly, especially when you're working with bright colors. In this painting, we're not using any black. I didn't even bring the black paint out because we want the colors to pop. And so for our shadows, we're just using a dark version of a color in the same family. You know, many times I find that I like my example painting way better than the painting that I do live. I think it's gonna be the opposite today. I'm definitely liking this one way better than the example.
I think I'm finished. Because if I add more, then it's probably going to cover up all the paint.
Let's see, I'm trying to think. Oh, so if you are finished with that, why don't you just set your brush down for the moment. If you want to walk around the table and see what everybody else is doing, we'll let your paint dry just a little bit.
I'm going to put
Because-
my brush in the cup.
Oh, that's fine, yes. Because there's still one more step for you to do that I will get to, but you don't want to keep adding stuff if you feel like your flowers are done. Because, yeah, you're right, then you'll be adding too much paint.
Pretty nice.
I would say there's a lot of purple.
Yours looks better than mine.
My tree is small. Really.
Now,
I probably use too much purple.
when I sit back and look, I think I use too much of the dark purple. So you know how I'm gonna fix it? I'm not gonna rinse off my brush. I'm gonna go back in with the light pink. And I'm gonna cover up some of the parts that I think are too dark.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
What? I dipped your brush in the wrong one. Because that will lighten it up a little bit if you use the light pink. Or in your case, if you want to use the light purple or white. Because you want your purple tree. You can always go back in and add a little bit of lightness over what you think maybe you made too dark. Right where that was. A little too much there. A little too much up in here.
Yeah, that helped.
Just a little bit of white. Yes. It is totally okay to go rogue. My mom's over here saying, shoot, I went rogue, and she did, and that's totally okay. It is your art. You make it what you want it. Every time we do these, I love to see the results. So if you're new here or if you're not, if you want to share your painting with me when you're done, you can send it to me via Facebook Messenger. If you find my Facebook page, Rin Studio Art, I will put that link in the description after the fact because I forgot to do it when I set up the live stream, but I will put that link in the description. And you can send it to me via Messenger there. You can also email me. I will put my email address in the link or in the description later also. Or if you have my personal number, you can just text it to me. That's fine too. So our last step, once you have all your shadows and highlights, I'm really liking the way mine's looking. I know Sophia's liking the way hers is looking. Mom's sitting back, so all looks pretty. Mom, if you wanted to, you could add green leaves, but that is totally up to you. But our last step, we're going to take our very smallest brush that we have. You have a small brush?
This one, I was using this one.
Is that the littlest brush you got?
And I have this one.
Let's see. Yep. Nope. The littlest brush. Let me see if I have a littler one for you. Here you go. Nope. Not that one. Which one? You're going to use this brush. Get a little wet so that it's a little thinner for you. You're going to use this brush. And we're going to go in with our medium colored brown. Okay.
Oh, I don't have.
Or your dark brown. Dark brown works too. Or light brown, whichever one you like. And we're going to add just a few illusions of branches. So don't make them too big. Here, I'm going to show you, Sophia. I am just adding them in little spots here. Just little touches where there might be breaks in your flowers.
Which brown?
I'm using the middle brown. You can use whichever brown you like best, but so that's a little big. I will fix that in a minute, but something like that. Because you'll see, if you look at a picture of one of these trees, you'll see the branches kind of peeking through in between. And you can use different multiple colors of the browns too, if you so choose.
I'm going to use more light brown.
But not too many either, just a few. Just a few where it's peeking through. There. That looks good. And then if you're like, oh, I made those too thick, then you can go back in with your pink. Rinse off your brush, but you can go back in with your pink or your magenta or white or whatever color you feel, and just kind of dot around it, go over it, and it will blend together. This one I made way too thick, so just kind of clean that up a little bit. All right. And I think, honestly, I think that is pretty much the tree. Your very, very last step is to sign your work.
I'm going to use a small brush.
Yes, to sign your work, always use the small brush. And you can choose whatever color you want. Oh, and also, I forgot to show you guys this, but if you have a fan brush at home, not everybody does, but if you have a fan brush and you want to add more grass, you can dip part of it in the dark green, part of it in the light green, and then again, just kind of pull upwards and it will add
I'm going to put my initials in the
grass. I don't want to add too much because I don't want to ruin my little floweries that I have there in the grass. But I'll add a few blades here and there. And I just pull upwards to make my grass blades. So that's another trick that you can do with a fan brush, but not everybody has it, so. All right, and for me, I'm going to use this dark purple color, and I'll sign
I also use dark purple.
right here in my tree trunk.
I put it in my grass.
Perfect.
Is it okay if I just stay on the brush this brush?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I never got to use this brush.
Well, welcome back, Terry. I hope that you had a delicious dinner. My friend Terry was having dinner and then cleaning up. But I know Terry will go back and watch this again later too, possibly with their kiddos to paint along.
Did you take my lemon brush? Wait, no, I
All
used it for
right.
a branch.
So this one is mine, everybody. That's how mine ended up. I really do. I like my live painting a lot better than what I did for the example. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see, Mom went rogue. She did beautiful. Love that.
Trying to match a little bit the other tree, and I added my swing back.
Yes. So Mom added a swing in there, just like we did with the winter tree. So that's very fun. And she's got, I love her little petals falling. That's beautiful. There you go. Would you like to show yours off, Sophia? Oh, that is gorgeous. She did such a good job. I love the purple. I'm a big fan of purple, so.
Oh, wow, pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Very cool. Casey, you want to show yours off? Oh, very nice. Bring it close. Very nice. Another kind of very purpley tree. I love it. Love it. I love your grass.
I do
Yeah.
like my grass.
I love the texture of your grass. That's beautiful.
My tree is a little crazy, but I like the grass.
Oh, nice.
The top of the tree looks like a little heart.
I was trying to go for a heart.
And let me see yours.
It's spring.
So, and Francine did hers in watercolor. Let me show the camera closer. This is gorgeous. She did a beautiful job. Yeah, so like I said, if you ever have watercolor questions, you let Francine know.
And Kimberly and the kids text us your pictures.
Yes, my sister will text me their pictures. Let's see. Yes, Terry loves all of our paintings. So, excellent. Do you have any questions, Sophia? No. Anybody else have any questions? All right. I had a lot of fun painting with y'all, and so spoiler alert, you may have noticed we did a winter tree. Now we've done a spring tree. Eventually this year, we will also be doing a summer tree and a fall tree. Those will be coming in later months. The summer one obviously in the summer month and the fall one in a fall month. But stay tuned because next month will be April, and we're going to be doing a special painting for my mom because April is her birthday month.
He's funny.
So tune back in next month, first Sunday of the month, I think, unless Rabbit's out.
Yes, it's Easter, so you don't want to do it on Easter anyway. Easter is the first Sunday.
So maybe we'll do it on the second Sunday next month. So, but yeah, keep an eye out, and I will hopefully see y'all next one. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be in touch. All right. I'm gonna end this live stream. Done.
Yeah,